Okay, everyone, this is Dr. Brian Capra from Genesis Chiropractic Software. We are on week 3 of Tuesdays with Trent, and what we're doing is we're talking to Dr. Trent Kemp, and the purpose of this weekly recording is to give doctors that are kind of on the fence about the system or just want to know more, kind of an idea of how the process works after you sign a contract with Genesis and what is actually happening on the ground in a real office. And Dr. Trent has a real busy office, and so he's a really good test case for this because he kind of can see it from a lot of different angles and cover a lot of bases for you. So, Dr. Trent, thanks for being on the call.
Great. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, week 3's been interesting. We're starting to wrap our hands more and more around the system, figuring out how to customize it for our specific needs. There's been some hiccups that we've overcome and figured out, and I got to tell you, your team's been, Amy and Jess have been really helpful with that. And even you have been helpful when we've had some ideas or suggestions. I applaud your company for considering them and saying, hey, yeah, that's an awesome idea. Let's go ahead and take it to our development team and have it changed. And we've given you 30 ideas, and you said one was awesome and going with it. So that's great that you listen to your customers and still get feedback and still make changes.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the feedback, and you know, the system is built on feedback. A lot of times the way software companies start is they build the system that they think doctors want, and then you're kind of stuck with it. And since we're a web-based platform, we never started that way. We started with basics and just waited for the next requirement, and it's built on requirements that we get from doctors, and that's really called the network effect, so that when Dr. Trent finds something for really successful practice that's going to help a really successful practice, or like you saw Dr. Zano's before. Yep. When we can get information from somebody like you or Dr. Zano and build it into the system, everybody benefits from it. So that's called the network effect. And
yeah, and what's really cool about that, beyond you haven't gone through the pain and suffering we've gone through of getting a CD from the company that we used to use and saying you need to put this on your server and upload it to all your computers, and there's literally times when we get updates that we didn't install them just because they had hiccups in them and everything else, and we didn't want to screw with something that was working, so we didn't do it. And the great thing about your company is just the next time I log on, it's there. I didn't have to go through and update my servers. I didn't have to go through and update my software. I didn't have to go through and do anything. It's just the next time I log on, it's there, which is the beautiful thing about networks and clouds.
Yeah, that brings up an interesting point. Arez Larav is my business partner, and has a computer science degree from Princeton, and he's the mastermind and genius behind the actual technology and rolling those types of things out. This just came up at a seminar we were at. We were doing some training, and one of the things we do with what we call version control is if you think about your iPhone or something like that, when the new operating system comes out, it's 7.1 or something like that right now today. I just got the notification on my phone. And, what usually happens is you're scared to update to the new iPhone because there's going to be bugs in that. And then you have to wait till the next version for it to come out. So even with the iPhone, there's, a level of anxiety when the new version comes out,
Correct.
So one of the things that we do uniquely is we actually have multiple versions of the system running simultaneously. So we have a beta site, and it all accesses the same data center. So you can run on the beta site, and that's like the most advanced features that are just being tested by a small group of doctors. And so there's a little, you can expect some bugs, but there's also a lot of extra features on there. So a lot of doctors like to use it anyway. The next version basically is, just to make it a little bit more simple, is the last version, and then the third version is the current version. So we basically, when we roll out a new version, you get it instantly, right? Like you said, it came from beta, and then it goes right to the live site. And then if you get that live site and you don't like it, or there's a bug that you find right away, because we could run the new site for a month, and all of a sudden we find a bug. Right. So if that causes, if that's like my practice is going to stop kind of thing, you can always roll back just by changing the URL to the last version. So, like, once you go from, for the iPhone, for example, from 7 to 7.1, you're stuck with 7.1. There's no going back. Not without a lot of work. And if it causes like, there was one update recently that kept causing the Chrome browser to crash over and over and over again. So you're stuck with that. So with our versions, you can get the newest stuff in real time. You don't have to worry about loading onto all your computers in your office and all that. But if there's something specifically to the way you do things that you find is a bug, you can open a ticket to us. We can correct it. But in the meantime, you can go back to the last version instantly.
Right. So you're essentially getting 3 versions of one software, which is way cool. Because a lot of times, an old guy like me, I'm pushing late 40s. I take a while to adapt. I'm not quite a dinosaur. I'm not going to become extinct. But in the middle of the practice, I don't want to see a new version pop up and say, "Oh shit! Now I've got to." Can I say that on these? Okay, I just did.
Yeah.
I don't have time to figure this out right now. I can just click a button and go back to the old version, keep on going through, and then later when things are slower, I've got time. I can actually go in and look at, hey, they did this. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. But it's not like you're going to throw it on somebody in the middle of the night where they're going to wake up the next day and everything's changed. Not that you change everything. I don't mean it like that, but this button's not here anymore. Where the hell did it go?
And you can actually, different people in the office can use different versions
at the same time. Yeah, at the same time.
At the same time.
Yeah.
And it's not like Doc, that you're that. It's not even that to the level of how up to date are you on technology. Sometimes in a really busy, successful office like yours, it's sometimes it's just you don't have the time to look at the new stuff right away.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're not here on Tuesday and you guys change it Tuesday night, and then Wednesday I come in and I don't have time to check it out and say, hey, what's changed? I can just go to the old version and say, I'll figure that out later.
Yeah, there's always something to fall back on.
So next week on our staff meeting hour, we're actually going to have one of us role play. We're going to phone in and have the front desk set them up as a new patient through Genesis, and then we're going to have the patient come in, do the new patient paperwork through Genesis, through your X-Docs, and go through the whole system and see how close we are to ready to go live with it. So we're excited about that and finding out where the hiccups are in the system, in our system basically, and how we can implement your system to make our system better. So that's
awesome.
Where we're at.
Have you picked a date yet, or is that really you're in?
We've not picked a date certain yet. Again, this morning, right now it's 12 o'clock. We've been open 4 hours so far, and we've seen 65 people with 2 docs. So, we're not going to have a chance for hiccups. We're not going to have an opportunity for hiccups. It has to be 100% when we go live. So although Amy's been asking me repetitively for a go live date, I've not given her one, just because I have to make sure it works, and I've got some vacation coming up. We do have a system that was working now. It's not as cool as yours. It doesn't work as well as yours, but it is kind of limping along. So until we're sure we can go 100%, we're looking at another 2-3 weeks. We'll be good to go.
Nice. Okay. Anything else you think would be important for somebody to know listening in?
Well, I'd just like to point out that we're going to use you guys as a billing service initially, and I like the fact that with your company we can scale that. So we're starting out using you guys. I'm going to pay you a percentage of collections and do all that, but eventually I can take that back and bring it in-house if I want. Right now we're using outside collections. Or outside billing company, and with you guys, we're still going to use an outside billing company. But I like the ease and the way it looks like I can take that back in house if I want to at any time. Talking to Amy and Jess, it looks like it's a simple matter of clicking a few buttons, and then we're back in house doing it ourselves if we want to, which is totally different than the contractual agreement I have with my current billing company that says, for 6 months afterwards we have to do this, and for a year afterwards we have to do this, and all that. So the ease of, and you know what, the other thing, if I decide to bring billing back in, and all of a sudden the girl gets in my face and quits one day who's doing all my billing, I think it's as simple as clicking a couple buttons and you guys are doing it again. So that's beautiful to me. That gives me security and freedom that I just really enjoy.
Nice. Yeah, and either way, you bring it in-house, you still leverage that workflow that we've built for, we do over 270,000 claims every single month.
Yeah.
And the unique part of the system is that there's one metric management, we call it. So that means that the system finds the claims that need follow-up and gives it to the biller. So if that's in-house or it's outsourced, as the business owner, you know with one number how much work has to happen for your billing department to be, top form, collecting everything you should. So whether you're in-house or outsourced with us, you have that one metric. And you're right. What's the beauty of it is we have that flexibility, and we can work as a team that way. We can say, okay, where are you on a bunch of different factors, and what's the best solution for you today? And
yeah,
you have that flexibility.
That's something that some of the other companies just didn't offer. And when I was looking to choose you guys over the other companies, I really didn't factor that in or make that as important as I probably should have. I should have made that a more important caveat, because I know a lot of docs do their own billing. But I also know a lot of docs that have nearly gone out of business because they've had one or two people doing their billing. Either found out the billing person was, stealing from them, or the billing person, God forbid, got hurt in an accident, or
right.
you got pregnant, or there's some tragedy happens, and all of a sudden the whole financial stability of a really healthy office gets terribly disrupted because of that one person. So just the ability to click a box, and then the next day the bills are going out. It's just somebody else doing it. That's brilliant.
Yep.
I mean, it's just truly brilliant.
Yeah, at the end of the day, most practices are small businesses, very small businesses. So your billing department isn't 20 people; it's one person.
Right.
So you don't have that. You need to, it's hard to have that to bring it in, because you lose that luxury of.
Well, that's why I keep telling you, you don't sell practice software. You sell billing business software. I mean, that's part of selling business software. It's not a practice software where it's dependent upon one person. It's a business, so that if something happens to my business on this side and I need help and you're my business partner, I can click a button and my business partner takes over part of what I need him to do, which is a wonderful relationship.
Awesome. Yeah, great point. Make sure to add that into more of our marketing stuff. I don't think we emphasize that nearly as much as we should.
Well, I didn't really realize it until I was, working with Jess and Amy, that wow, really, I can just click a different button on this, and then you guys do it, and if I click this button, then we do it, and they're like, yeah, and to the point, and I guess you know this, to the point, like if I just want to do my work comp and PI, I just click a button, and then I can do my own billing for work comp and PI, and you guys don't do that. So, I mean, I don't know of any other company that offers that opportunity.
Cool. Yeah, we have quite a few practices that do that. It's just more efficient for them to do it that way, and it's not worth them paying the percentages, because it's not a lot of work. It's basically submitting all the claims to an attorney a lot of times.
Right, and any other billing company, the one I use now, they want auto, work comp, they want it all, so they're obviously making their money off the auto, work comp, and making some money off of Blue Cross Blue Shield and Coventry and all those. But I can tell you, I look at their work and what work they're doing, and they're working very little to collect those auto work comp claims. I mean, basically they're either paid or denied because they're in court or something. They work very little, and that's where they make most of their money. And because of that, sometimes I wonder if the Blue Cross Blue Shield and the Covetries get neglected. So don't get.
But like you said, every practice is different, So every state's different on how that works. Every practice is different. They have different resources. The doctor and owner has different time to allocate towards training people to do that. So, and it's always flexible. So So it just really depends on the situation, and the beauty of it is the workflow and the one metric management system really enables you to decide, make a decision.
So if people are trying to decide, just make sure that they really consider that, because that I didn't give the weight I should have.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Brian. I'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Doc.